Hello and welcome to our review of the Go City San Diego Pass. Today we're going to take a look at this attraction pass and show you how it works and what attractions you can visit and if the pass is worth buying for your trip to San Diego. As always, for this review we headed to San Diego to try the pass out in person to see if the pass saved us money and actually made the trip better. We sometimes hear rumblings on forums and such that these kinds of passes are not as good as they sound and can actually make your trip worse and cost you money. We've used them several times in San Diego, along with a lot of other cities, and we always have a better time with a pass than without, and we save a lot of money. So let's dive in and take a look at the Go City San Diego Pass. For disclosure, we were provided the passes by Go City, but not in exchange for a favourable review, and this will not affect our opinion or recommendation of the pass or the attractions on it. What is the Go City San Diego Pass? The Go City San Diego Pass is an attraction pass that allows you to visit multiple attractions in the city, all for one fixed fee. There are a few different options of the pass, and these work a little differently from each other. The all-inclusive pass. This is what is known as a day pass. This gives you unlimited access to the attractions listed for a set number of days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 7 days. After buying the pass, it is activated at your first attraction. You then have the number of days you purchase to use the pass at any number of attractions on the list. These are calendar days, not 24-hour periods, so you need to activate the pass early in the morning to get the full day's use out of the pass. Of course, you could activate it later, but as it ticks over at midnight, if you activate it late in the day, you just have less time of that day to use the pass. These are also consecutive days, so once you start the clock ticking, it's ticking on all available days. You can't take a break, which is a bit of a shame in San Diego, as you might have a beach day or head to a winery or just spend the day not visiting attractions. This is not possible on the all-inclusive pass. The Explorer Pass works a little differently. This is not limited to days, but instead you choose the number of attractions you want to visit. This works well as you can space the attractions out and you don't have to cram as much in. However, the possible savings are limited as you can only do the number of attractions you buy. With the all-inclusive pass you can fit more attractions into quite a short period and hence get better value out of the pass than you can with the Explorer Pass. For this review we used the 3-day all-inclusive pass and this works really well, but the longer the pass you get the better the value, but we only had a short stay in the city. How much does the pass cost? Okay, we've got the prices below, and these are accurate as of October 2023, but they do change quite a bit. They bounce up and down, and they go up every year around February. So you need to check our links below, and you'll get the best, latest price. Also, these are the base prices, and if you check our links below, you'll find that we often have codes for 10 to 15% off, so you can get even better value if you use one of our codes through one of our links. The most important price to take a look at is the price per day for the all-inclusive pass and the price per attraction for the Explorer Pass. From this you can see roughly how many attractions you need to visit each day and which will provide the best value. But don't chase value, stick to attractions you like the look of and not which are the most valuable. If you only want to do the cheaper, less valuable attractions, the pass may not actually be great value for you. What attractions are included? Okay, on to the good stuff. What can you actually do with the pass? There is a lot included on the pass, over 50 attractions, and most of San Diego's top attractions are on the list. The big hitters are the theme parks, the zoos. No visit to San Diego is complete without a visit to SeaWorld and the San Diego Zoo. Both are amazing attractions and available on the pass. There is also the fantastic San Diego Safari Park. Just those three cost over $250 at the gate, and that's about the same as a 3-day pass. There's also Legoland, which is every kid's favourite, along with a host of other attractions including museums, whale watching, cruises, water sports, even a speedboat tour. It's an amazing lineup and we actually find choosing what to do the hardest. With some passes, after a few days we start to run out of things to do. But with the San Diego Pass, we can easily keep going. As you'll see on our 3-day trip, we only scratched the surface. There was so much we didn't do. As you can see, most attractions cost around $50, $70, even $100, so you don't have to do too many attractions each day to break even. The Explorer Pass has a slightly different lineup. You lose SeaWorld and can only do one out of San Diego Zoo and Safari Park, but you gain a couple of extra things such as jet ski rental. Both cards also have a few attractions that are not actually in San Diego. This is useful as most people are travelling around. If you're in southern LA, there are a few great attractions such as Knott's Berry Farm and Newport whale watching. We took advantage of this on our latest trip, as you will see. A final point to remember is the slightly controversial nature of SeaWorld. For some, this is no longer an ethical attraction, but the park has done a lot in recent years to improve conditions for the animals and ramp up their conservation efforts. The park is really now primarily a ride-based theme park. It has some really great rides and attractions, as you will see coming up. There really is no simple answer to the issue. The orca cannot just be released. We discussed this in depth in our SeaWorld review, which we'll leave a link to in the description below, but if SeaWorld is off the menu to you, there are still a ton of other attractions on the list. The pass is really simple. It's basically a QR code that can be stored on your phone, in the app, or printed out, and then you just visit the attraction, scan the code, and you're in. We'll show you this later on when we visit attractions, but it's really simple. Some attractions do require booking. Again, we'll look into this later, but it's normally pretty obvious which need booking, as it's things like tours, cruises, stuff that you would always need to book in advance regardless. Museums, static attractions, you just walk up, scan the pass, and you're in. One tip, if you're using the pass on your mobile, which we do recommend, remember to take a screenshot of each pass as well, and send them to each member in the party. That way, if you have a technical issue, which has happened to us quite a few times, you can still pull up the QR code and scan to get in the attraction. Or go really old school and print them out. As long as you can present the code in some format to be scanned, you're good to go. Is the Go City San Diego Pass worth it? Okay, this is a two-part question. The first part is easy. Financially, the pass is a no-brainer. We really used the pass quite timidly on our trip. We had other stuff to do in the city and we weren't pushing the pass that hard. And we were driving down from LA and we still saved, spoiler alert, $300 each. I mean, who can say no to that? And with so much on the pass, there is sure to be a way to save for everybody. But the other side of the question is, does the pass actually make your trip better? Or does the pass cause you to rush around and not fully enjoy the trip? Well, it depends on how you approach it. We find we do so much more with a pass than without. We probably don't actually save that much money. The truth is, without the pass, we probably would spend about the same. We would just do a lot less. The pass really opens things up and lets us really explore the city. We find the pass great for inspiration, trying new things. There's always something on the pass that we probably wouldn't have done or maybe not even known about, and these are often our favourite attractions. Honestly, we didn't know you could do a drive your own speedboat tour in San Diego, and it was an absolute blast. It also helps when an attraction is maybe a bit disappointing, as you can look at it as you didn't really pay for it. It's also great for budgeting, as you know that side of the budgeting is covered, no nasty credit card bills when you get home. Well, not because of attractions anyway. On the negative side, it is worth noting that some of the listed prices are on the little high side. For example, San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Safari Park are both listed as full gate price, but you can actually normally get these cheaper, and if you do both, there are always deals on that. SeaWorld often has discounted tickets, and on the whole, shopping around, being savvy, you can save at least part of what the pass saves. But even just saying that is a chore. All that shopping around, printing individual tickets, it's all a hassle. And with the pass, it's just one fantastic deal in your pocket with minimal fuss. You're saving a huge amount of money and making very little effort in doing so. The last thing to say is you do need to stay pretty busy to get good value out of it. You can't just expect to do one or two things and still save a lot of money. It takes a little planning, it takes a little effort to get the best out of the pass, but in doing so you get a really rewarding trip and get to see so much of the city. If you're just allergic to planning, these passes aren't actually very good. Okay, let's take a look at our trip to San Diego and see how the pass really worked out in practice. Okay, day one of the pass, we were driving down from Anaheim to San Diego. So on the way, we stopped off at Newport to go on the whale watching tour. The whale watching tour was one of those attractions that we needed to book ahead in advance, but this was done online. It was all fairly straightforward. This is listed as $56 on the pass, but the tour we wanted to book was actually over $70, but it still worked out as free on the pass. Or included on the pass, should we say. The tour was pretty amazing. We try not to judge companies too much on what we actually see because they're not always fully in control of that. If they have a total blank, it's not always their fault. What we judge them on is how hard they try to get to see some animals. And on this whale watching tour, they tried really, really hard, and they were incredibly successful. As you can see, we didn't actually see any whales, but we managed to hit a pod of nearly 1,000 common dolphins, and they were just all around us, breaking the water. It was absolutely stunning. The tour itself was really nice. We got free drinks included with the pass. We paid for an upgrade, so we were on the top deck, which was amazing. We got better views, we got to speak to the captain, and overall, it was just a brilliant experience. It's not very often you get to see these sort of sights. The dolphins were absolutely amazing. We couldn't quite believe our luck on the day. And the captain and the tour overall was just really, really good. The next attraction we visited was San Diego Safari Park. Again, this is just outside of San Diego, and because we were on our way down, we passed it on the way in, so we didn't have to make a special trip out to the Safari Park. The Safari Park's great. It has a lot of animal attractions. There's some static attractions like the lions and the gorillas, which are really stunning, but the highlight of the park is the tram tour, which takes you out around the Safari Park, where the animals are not quite free, but they have a lot more room and a lot more space than most animals would.
Embryos have become viable. It's a little hard to see, but there are 4 babies. They just happen to have smaller horns.
There were loads of cool things to see. There was a lot of antelopes and gazelles and animals like that, but there was also giraffes, rhinos. In general, it was just a really fun, really good tour. It takes about 45 minutes on the tram. It feels a bit like the trams at Universal Studios. You go climb aboard and they chug around. There's a guide at the front, tells you what's going on, and overall it's a great way to spend part of your day.
Because he's standing over here all alone with this female, that she's probably in estrus. Now that means that she's available.
The Safari Park is part of San Diego Zoo, and it's kind of their overflow park where they keep all their animals that they can't fit in the small space in the middle of San Diego. It's great to see, and the conservation efforts of San Diego Zoo are second to none. They do so much for wildlife. Where some people are iffy about somewhere like SeaWorld, you can't say the same for San Diego Zoo because they are literally keeping species alive. There is a species of rhino here that basically would no longer exist on the planet if it wasn't for San Diego Zoo.
People bring, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. People from the local communities will bring their livestock on top of those shoulders. They are designed, I should say, for grazing, eating grass. The funny thing, though, is that they have no teeth in the front of their mouth. They just use their hard palate to pull up that. Now, all the way over here towards the front of the tram, you're going to see one adult giraffe, and then right next to that adult is our latest habitat. And if you weren't aware, when giraffes give birth, the moms don't lay down. So that little fella has to come out nose and toes first, doing a high dive from mom onto the ground. But with that hard impact.
Oh, my life.
Okay, day 2 we spent actually in San Diego and did some of the prime San Diego attractions, starting off with the Speedboat Adventure Tour. When you first used the Go City San Diego pass, we had no idea you could do this tour, and to see it, we saw it on the pass and thought we have to do this, and it was absolutely fantastic. Just from a sightseeing point of view, you get to see the bay in a way you never really would. It goes all the way out, round the bay, past all the military installations, military boats, and then back along the seafront. It's crazy fun. You get to drive your own boat, which is very rare. When do you get to drive your own speedboat? It's brilliant. The boats are a bit janky, they're not the best boats in the world, but they trot along well enough. We got to see sea lions, pelicans, crazy air display. There was so much going on. It was such a good tour. The tour guide was brilliant. He talked you through everything, and you all stayed together and just basically ploughed along the bay in your own speedboat. It was brilliant fun.
And that building off to my right-hand side, where
Okay, as we mess about and play around in the bay in our speedboat, let's just take a brief moment to look at the running total. see, this is only our third attraction, yet we've almost broken even on the pass already. I mean, we've done $222 worth of attractions. That's pretty good going, and we actually saved more on the whale watching cruise in Newport than the pass suggested we should, so that's even better. And again, we got a discount on the pass cost, so we have technically broken even already on the first day during the morning, and everything we do from now on is basically free. It shows what great value the pass is. Final bit of the speedboat tour, we headed past the Midway Museum, which we will be visiting next, and then the Maritime Heritage Museum with all the old pirate boats and stuff. Excellent fun.
Next to her is the Medea, one of the oldest steam-powered vessels. She's all made of all steel.
Overall, just messing around in the speedboats was just so much fun. The next attraction we visited was the USS Midway Aircraft Carrier Museum. Unfortunately, the GoPro stopped working, so we're stuck with stills for this one. This is a real World War II aircraft carrier that is docked up in the Marina District of San Diego. San Diego is a real military city, and the Midway Museum is really fitting on that front. It's also, as most people know, just a few miles away from Miramar, where of course Top Gun used to be based. If you're into your military history, then just walking on such a huge and iconic vessel is pretty special. And on top of this, there are some really cool exhibits as well. There's an A6 Intruder, an F4 Phantom, FA-18 Hornet, an F4 Wildcat, and a Huey gunship helicopter. The displays are all very navally orientated, but still really cool. And of course, there's an F-14 Tomcat for those Top Gun fans. For those not too into the military history, the museum's still worth visiting, as you get some fantastic views out over the city, including a great view of the unconditional surrender statue. Next on the list was a San Diego Bay cruise. We had to wait a little while for this, which was fine because that's when we went to Midway Museum. We booked on first, then went to the Midway Museum, then came back to actually catch the cruise. This was a really pleasant little cruise. The main route of the cruise steams down the waterfront area, past the San Diego military base, under the bridge, then loops back. You get fantastic views of the skyline, you get to see all the latest and greatest military hardware that's docked up in San Diego, and it was just a very pleasant cruise. They had an onboard bar, which was actually shockingly good value, really. We quite enjoyed that. And overall, it was just a nice, chilled, hour-long cruise along the bay. Lovely. And finally, in the evening, we headed to Belmont Park. You get a ride and play pass with the Go City Pass, which gets you unlimited access to pretty much all the rides and attractions. Overall, as adults, we didn't find that much there to do. There's a few fun rides, such as the Giant Dipper roller coaster, which is a 1925 classic wooden coaster, which is pretty bangy, but it is good fun. We took a ride on the Belmont Express, which is a fun little train, and there's a few fairground-style rides, but overall, it's not great for adults, but kids would love it, and they can play for ages there. We needed to get in quite early to get the wristband, but then we could stay all night. It was a really good choice for families. Day 3 was our last full day, and we were going to some of the really big name attractions in San Diego. Starting off with San Diego Zoo. It's worth noting now that our savings are getting really high. We're well over $400 worth of attractions done, and we've still got SeaWorld to come later. San Diego Zoo is probably our favourite zoo that we have ever visited. We've been to some excellent examples of zoos, and we live very close to Chester Zoo, which is another fantastic zoo. But San Diego is just a really nice place. The way it's laid out is confusing. It's very easy to get lost in the different hills and valleys, and we did a couple of times. But overall, it doesn't feel like a zoo. It's not just a series of pens. Everything's set into the hills, into the trees. You feel like you're walking through the jungle, and we hope the animals feel at least somewhat like that. There's loads of different areas and habitats, and it just feels better than most zoos in that respect. We also have a huge respect for what San Diego Zoo do in terms of conservation. They really are keeping species alive. We mentioned this at the safari park, but they are doing a lot. Some organisations, you can question how much they're doing, but you can't with San Diego Zoo. They are absolutely top-notch in conservation. Best thing to do is start the day on the open-top bus tour. This drives around a great overview of the park. You get to see pretty much what you're going to see when you walk it. And after the bus tour, get off, walk, and take a bit more time to check out the different exhibits and animals. There is an awful lot to see. There's elephants and tigers and lions and California condors, bears, just about every animal you can imagine. The only thing they haven't got, which may have come as a surprise, is giant pandas. San Diego Zoo was famed for the giant pandas, but they actually did too well. They managed to really crack the breeding problem, and basically China no longer needed to lend out its pandas to different zoos because they were breeding because of the work San Diego Zoo did. So unfortunately they took them back. Probably a little bit of politics in there as well, but we won't go into that. We loved the reptile house. That was amazing. That was filled with all sorts of cool little snakes and spiders and lizards. We really enjoyed it in there. Well, I did. Kate, not so much. Overall, we spent a really good morning at San Diego Zoo, just wandering around, enjoying the animal exhibits. It's not a full day attraction. We got there at opening and enjoyed ourselves. It was a good day, but a half day was more than enough to get the fuller experience. And the final attraction that we visited was, of course, SeaWorld. SeaWorld San Diego, it is a bit dated, but overall, we just absolutely love the park. If you split it up into 3 different sections, that's probably the best way to look at it. The first section would be an aquarium section, and it's a really good aquarium. We'd easily rank it high on our list of the top aquariums in the USA. It's got so many different animal exhibits, from sharks, turtles, rays, moray eels. It's really good. We really enjoyed just looking around the various different exhibits. The second category of the theme park would be the marine mammals, and some people do not like these. They don't think that dolphins and orca should be kept in captivity, and really, we do agree with that, but we also see the complexities of the issue. You can't just release them. They've tried, and unfortunately the animals died. We've been to Iceland and actually seen efforts to get them moved into sea pens, and we applaud those, and we hope one day they can work that out and get these animals out of the parks. But for now, they're there, and we know SeaWorld are doing a lot better. They've stopped the captive breeding program, and while we would rather see the orca out in the wild, we can't help but say they are so stunning to watch. The third part of SeaWorld to consider is the rides, and SeaWorld's just getting better and better and better at rides. There are now 3 really good top attractions at the park. Electric Eel is a really solid roller coaster. It's kind of terrifying. We've never seen so many people stand in a queue and just run. It blasts through the station at the beginning of the ride. People just turn tail and leg it. Next up is Emperor. This is a B&M dive coaster, which if you don't know what that means, it means it's good. It has a large vertical drop, which it holds you at for a few seconds before plummeting down 150 foot below. It's a really good coaster. It's super smooth, super fluid. One of the best roller coasters on the West Coast. And the final new attraction at SeaWorld is Arctic Rescue. This is a triple launched coaster that takes you out on a ride on a snowmobile, which is really pretty cool. Overall, SeaWorld is getting back on its feet. It needed some TLC, but it's getting that. It's getting new rides. There seems to be a new ride every year or every other year, and it's really building up to be one of the best parks on the West Coast once more. Overall, we had a great time using the Go City San Diego Pass. The pass really opened up the city, and we got to see far more than we would have done without the pass. We really revolved the whole trip around the pass, and despite only being in San Diego for a couple of days, we got to see everything we wanted. We even had time on the last day to head over to La Jolla and check out the stunning coastal scenery before driving back up the coast to LA. Found the pass added so much value to the trip, not just in financial terms, but we just saw and did so much more than we would have without it. We never felt rushed, and the process was so easy. You could just scan the pass and you were in. Obviously for the cruise, the whale watching and the speedboat tour, it was a bit more complicated as we needed to book in advance, but the process was still easy and it never interfered with the trip. Money-wise, the total attractions would have cost us $526 each. That's over $1,000 of attractions visited. There is no way we would have spent that amount of cash without the pass. And if you've been following our price counter on the bottom right, you'll notice we have been listing the full pass price. Well, when we visited, we had a 10% off code, and this brings the price of the pass down and makes for a total saving of over $300 each. If you want to get one of those codes, check the link in the description and we'll give you our best code. If we had had a little bit more time, there were still loads of attractions we wanted to visit, and by getting a longer pass, we would have saved even more. It really is an incredible deal. Overall, if the list of attractions look like things you want to visit, then the pass works out as one of the biggest bargains we can think of. You do need to pack things in, and if you are prone to faffing around and not getting things done, then you could miss out on some of the benefits of the pass. But really, we would wholeheartedly suggest you pick up a pass for your next visit to San Diego. We are sure you will have a blast, or should we say a whale of a time, and save a heap of cash in doing so. So if you check the links in the description, you will find links for any promo codes we've got, and also a very detailed and in-depth review telling you exactly how much you can save and what attractions are available on the pass. Finally, obviously remember to like and subscribe to the channel as we have a load of San Diego content already up and lots more to come in the future.